Hey everybody, what's up? It's Dan with Hip Hops. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to be drinking Off Color's Beer for Movies, and I will be pairing that up with Madlib the Beat Konducta Movie Scenes Volume 2, the sequel. So stay tuned. I'll taste test the beer and talk about a couple of my favorite tracks off the album. And remember, if you can like and subscribe, it would help me a lot. So Off Color Brewing is located here in Chicago, and Beer for Movies is part of this Beer for series that they have going on. So they have like beer for beaches, beer for ball games, beer for basketball. They have a couple. Beer for brunch is a really delicious one also. It's a like sort of a mimosa style beer. But this one in particular, Beer for Movies, it's a Kolsch beer, a Kolsch Zwickel beer. And it's got a really big head, so I'm trying to slow down on the pouring. I am gonna have to let that go down. But in the meantime, so it's a popcorn Kolsch style beer. And what they used is they poured in popcorn into the mash as well as grapevine smoked malts and then salt to get like a sort of burnt roasted popcorn flavor going in it. And yeah, you smell a little bit of the smoked malts on there. It smells like a good lager. And a Kolsch is sort of a hybrid. So it's warm fermented, but with ale yeast, and then it's cold conditioned, like a lager would be, using a lager yeast. And ale yeast is top fermenting, and usually it's you're not lagering it at all. You're letting it sit afterwards. But using the ale yeast and then lagering it in the cooler temps like a lager would normally be is a unique to a Kolsch, and that is based primarily out of Cologne, Germany. And a Zwickel is an unfiltered lager. So Off Color has a primary brewing facility here in Chicago, and then they also have the Mousetrap, which acts as their tap room. It's a really cool place. It's like North and Clybourne area if you're familiar with Chicago. And so Beer for Movies, you can see here, they the mouse is their logo. So they have the mouse here in a variety of, he's wearing 3D glasses. You got a couple here making out in the back. There's popcorn laying around. And they always have the ingredients on the side here. So it says malts, pills, smoked malt, torrefied wheat, Vienna, and carapils, Magnum and Tetning hops, and then the secret ingredients are popcorn, salt, and grapevine smoked malt, like I said earlier. Yeah, this is a German style, so it's gonna be lightly smoked. And you can really see, I poured this a little bit ago, but you can like really see the carbonation lifting up there. So this is gonna be a very effervescent, delicious beer. And this is a proper glassware, Kolsch glass here. Yes, like I said, you're getting smoked malt, and it's not like smoke, like when you have like a liquid smoke or like a smoked something. It's a little bit lighter than that. You just get like a floral note and then a little bit of smoke at the end. And I just know from having other smoked beers that this just smells like a smoked beer that's not going to be out of control smoky. So this is a very refreshing beer. As much as like when you hear smoked beer, you're not thinking it's going to be very refreshing, but the carbonation and the light body, I mean, you can see it's very like hay colored gold and clear a little bit. I mean, I got chill haze on the glass, but it's a clear beer. And the smokedness is very subtle, and it sort of makes you want to come back, and maybe it's the salt too. It sort of dries out at the end of the sip, so it makes you want to keep coming back. This is a very drinkable beer. I was curious if I was going to get like butter or popcorn, and I'm getting that like corn flavor that I associate with like a macro lager or any kind of a lager that's brewed with corn, but I'm not necessarily getting popcorn. I'm getting more of a corn taste with a light smoke. And butter can be considered an off flavor, or most of the time it is an off flavor, diacetyl in beers. And I'm not getting butter, which I honestly, I don't remember if it was buttered popcorn or if it was just like regular popped, plain popcorn. Either way, this one is it's a great addition to the Beer 4 series. 4.5% alcohol. I forgot to mention that earlier. So it's very light. Yeah, the salt. So if you've had a Goza before, and you know how like the salt sort of dries your tongue out and maybe dries your cheeks out a little bit, and it leaves you wanting a little more. I'm getting that, but obviously without the sour, like a Goza would have. Yeah, very good beer, very solid. I like it for like a light lager that gives you a little more, something to think about. Like the smoked is a great little tidbit of this. All right, so Madlib. He is out of Oxnard, California, which is where he was originally from. He's kind of floats around LA and like New York, and he's all over the place with Egon right now, I feel like. But this Beat Konducta series, this is so volume 2 of the Beat Konducta series, and it's Movie Scenes, the sequel. So they had an original Movie Scenes, which I'm blanking on what the original one's like subtitle was, but so this is the second one. And digitally, this was just released in a really large album, and then they had to break it off because they were single LPs into 2 different sets of them. And so yeah, it's on Stone Throw Records. You can see here, Stone Throw Records, and then with association with Fat Beats, came out in 2006. Beat Konducta is 6 volumes. So he has, I'm trying to remember all of them right now off the top of my head, but so the Movie Scenes are the first 2, and then I think the 3 and 4 are the Beat Konducta in India, and then 5 and 6 might be Beat Konducta in Africa, if I remember correctly. And they all have they're all like a concept instrumental hip hop album. So this one's inspired by library music and a soundtrack to like a 70s film. So think like blaxploitation type of film. I've read somewhere that this is like a made up soundtrack for a movie that's in his head. And so it's all sample driven, boom bap sample driven. So they got some drums on there and really unique samples, which sort of kind of, this is like, when I first heard this, I think I graduated high school in 2006. I was like in probably undergrad, like freshman year of undergrad, and it was like way different. It's almost like Madlib, especially a lot of his early stuff when he's doing the Beat Konducta series and his like Yesterday's New Quintet and some of his other stuff. Think of it, he's like the like free jazz of hip hop producers, where it's something you kind of have to get into. Like you can't just find this and be like, oh yeah, I love this style of music. It's very unique and different, and you kind of have to sit and like listen to it to appreciate it, and listen to what he's doing, because he's, I mean, as far as I consider him and Jay Dilla are like the 2 geniuses of hip hop production in terms of using unique samples and unique techniques. They're definitely 2 of my favorites. And it's just on black vinyl. You can see the label there. It's sort of like a repeat of the front cover label with the tracks added around there. But yeah, I mean, this samples jazz, soul, rock, funk. It's a great little project. Like I said, maybe not the first thing to get into. If you're gonna start listening to Madlib, I'd probably start with Shades of Blue. That's where he basically takes the Blue Note catalog and picked some samples and created this album. But start with Shades of Blue if you're gonna get into Madlib, and then sort of expand from there. But so some of my favorite tracks off of this, I'm gonna start with Friends, and then so all the tracks have a title and then in parentheses another word or 2. So this is Friends, and then parentheses Foes. And this has a Diana Ross soul sample in it that I like the sound of. And for the most part, because this is all instrumental, it's going to be mostly like what sounds do I like, and what do I like the vibe of on the album. So yeah, this first one is called Friends, Foes. Alright, so the second track I'm going to play for you is called Toe Fat, and in parentheses, Ghetto Zone. This one has a sample of an artist named Garland Green, who I had never heard of. He may be bigger, I'm not really sure, but he's, I mean, think like probably 60s, 70s R&B soul singer. And he, like in, I think he did this in the Diana Ross sample in the previous track I played, but he really pitches down and slows down the music. So you can go to whosampledthat.com, and for most of Madlib's songs and a lot of other songs that exist, you can type it in and see like what did they sample. So I always enjoy going there, listening to what they took and then what they made it into. It makes it a more like in-depth listen if you like really want to find out what they did. So with this one, he's really pitching it down and slowing it down. Again, Toe Fat, in parentheses, Ghetto Zone. Alright, so the third and last track I'm going to play is called African Walk, and then in parentheses, Zamunda. So with this one, I'm going to have to look here. It's the Ogatana Show Band out of Ghana, and this one he really slows down and pitches down. And if you listen to the original track, it's more of like a funk rock from Ghana, and he really slows it down just to get the cool sound that he picks up off of that. And this is an example of some of the most obscure samples that he pulls from. I mean, the guy has a tremendous record collection. I know a lot of his later stuff he started doing digitally, but this is definitely when he was doing all vinyl samples. So he goes to these foreign countries and digs for these records that nobody else is going to have. There's a documentary on YouTube where he's in Brazil digging. It's just an interesting guy, and he seems like he'd be an interesting guy to talk to about music. So yeah, this one is called African Walk, Zamunda, and enjoy. Alright, so that's gonna do it for my three favorite tracks. I am going to, in the outro, play another track called What Can I Do? It's spelled a little weird, WHUTKANIDO, and then in parentheses, Can Do It. And this is another artist I'd never heard of, but Luther Ingram. He sped up and pitched up this sample. So it's a little different than what he had been doing in some of the previous samples I played you. Some of these I like because he'll maybe just pitch it down, maybe just slow it down, and then he plays you sort of what it is, and then he starts chopping it into something else. So now that I have let this sit a little bit, I almost feel like I am getting some of like the buttered popcorn on it, but not, it's real faint. It's not overly aggressive or like prohibitive when drinking it. Yeah, but you definitely check out Off Color. They're one of my favorite breweries in the city. They're doing unique styles. They're not just doing the hazy IPAs, pastry stouts, that type of thing. In fact, they won't make an IPA. So they hold true to their guns. They're doing a lot of lagers. They have made a pastry stout, but they aren't doing the traditional styles you're going to see in most breweries. So it makes it interesting, and this is the kind of thing that I feel like craft beer was like really founded on, and it's sort of good. John Laffler is one of the head brewers, and he used to run the barrel program at Goose Island back, in the late 2000s, early teens. I think he might have left like 2010 even. I can't remember. But definitely check them out if you're in the Chicago area. Visit the Mousetrap. It's a very nice place. It's sort of like an industrial nook, but just outside on north there's a ton of shopping and everything like that, and restaurants. So good place to go, and a little side bar to pass and kill some time. So until next time, drink some new beer and listen to some new music. Cheers.